Howdy, 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 and welcome to the sportsproject.com YouTube channel. I'm Hersey and I'm here in the garage, and today I'm working on my wife's 1999 Honda Shadow ACE. It's a VT750, and over the past few months we've done a lot to this motorcycle. It started out pretty stock. My wife has had it for a long time, and we hadn't really made any real changes to it. A couple minor things here and there, some different cables and different bars, but pretty much all the stock tins and tanks and air cleaners and all that good stuff was still on there. But a few months ago we decided, well, we're going to kind of rework it, and this is, where we're at today. It's almost what I'll call finished. I mean, I don't believe they're ever finished, but it's getting pretty close. I've got just a couple of things left to do. What we're here to talk about today, though, is this fuel pump and the ability to now delete it. So why can we delete this? Well, we replaced the stock tank with this custom tank, and on the stock tank, the petcock sits right down here in this area. So with it sitting in this area, it is actually just a hair bit lower than the fuel inlet for the carburetors. And because of that, you're going to need something to push the fuel to the carburetors, right? So the fuel's not going to run uphill. That is the fuel pump. The fuel pump gets installed or is installed right under the toolbox. It just simply slides over two tabs with the rubber holder. And that slides over those tabs. One of the top tab is, actually, this is the top. The top tab that goes through here actually has, a little kind of hook on it just to keep it from sliding off down the road. And then it hooks into a two-prong connector on the other side in the wiring harness. And from there, you have from the petcock down through a fuel filter into the fuel pump, and then it gets delivered back up into the carburetor. Well, since I replaced the stock gas tank with this gas tank from TJ Brutal Customs, which is a cool kit. This is a gas tank actually for a VT600 or VLX. I think, if I remember correctly, it fits the Honda VLX from '88 to '07. And it fits a 1999 Honda Shadow ACE, kind of. I had to just kind of bend the rear mount just a little bit to get it to sit right on the backbone, so that the tank didn't sit up like this. So I just had to put a little bit of a bend in it, and then I had to drill a hole through the backbone. I just drilled a 3/8 inch hole all the way through the backbone so I could bolt down the front tab, and it works just great. This kit's a great kit. It comes with the sight gauge, all the fittings you need, and the brass petcock or fuel valve right here. Now, because we replaced the tank, the petcock, you see, it's up here, so it is well higher than the fuel inlet on the carburetor. So on the carburetor, the fuel comes in here. There's a crossover tube that goes kind of underneath and across the two carburetors to get gas into both carburetors' float bowls. And because on the new tank, the petcock is considerably higher, right? I mean, this is where the stock petcock goes. This is the new one. I'm able to get rid of the fuel pump and just use gravity to feed the fuel into the carburetors. Now, still wanted a filter, an inline filter for the fuel. Again, this is what I had on there originally. It's an aftermarket filter, but I've used this little K&N inline filter. It's a little brass fuel filter on a couple of other builds, and I really like them. For one, they don't take up a lot of space. So if I was to try to fit this filter in there, I'd have to run the fuel lines around and this and that, maybe end up having to to actually bump up some, so that kind of defeats the purpose of gravity feeding fuel. With this, it's small, it fits in there, it's still clear. I can see the filter element, which is just a brass element in there, to see if it's clogged up or got any gunk in it or whatever, and it's easy to clean. You just pull it out and basically run cleaner the opposite way through it to clean it out. So I'll link that down in the description. They're handy. I've got it on a couple of motorcycles, especially where the petcock doesn't have, as with this one, doesn't have a screen in the tank to catch any of the larger crap that may be in the tank that could gum up your carburetors or make the float needles not seat and then cause gasoline to pour all over the ground. Now, I've seen some stuff on forums and whatnot and discussions about, well, you know, Honda wouldn't have put this on there if you didn't need it. Well, I agree. They put it on there because you do need it, because you're trying to get fuel uphill. Since we're not in that situation anymore, you know, this is well above the inlet valve. There's no problem with gravity pushing the fuel down into the carburetors. I've also seen on the forums, well, yeah, it's going to work great until your fuel gets low. It's going to be hard to see. There's not a lot of gasoline in here. If you can see the sight gauge as I move the motorcycle, you can see a little bit of fuel coming up. There's probably this much fuel in this tank, which is not very much, and it has no problem feeding enough fuel into the carburetors to make it start, run, and go. Now, just with that said, I have not ridden this on the highway yet. Had it out around the neighborhood and up and down the road around the courts and whatnot. With had a little bit more gas in this. We've run a lot of it out, just playing around and making sure it works. But I didn't have any problems. You know, we'll see how it goes when we get out on the highway. I don't think we're going to have any issues with it. It seems to get fuel just fine, gravity feeding. So why would I take this out? Well, so this is an aftermarket one. The Honda OEM one that was on here went bad. It was a couple of years ago. And when it went bad, well, guess what? The motorcycle just stopped running. We put this on there. This was fine. And it was necessary, right? Again, because of where the petcock set, being below the inlet on the carburetor. Now that that's all up here, we don't need this anymore. And it's one thing I don't have to worry about going bad. Hopefully we never run out of gravity, right? And we should be fine. So yeah, so that's what we've got, and that's what I've been kind of doing this morning. It's really pretty outside right now, so we're gonna actually go for a ride. Go just ride up to Surrey or whatever, and kind of putt around because it is a beautiful day. But I wanted to get this pulled off and make sure it would run like we expect it to, and it is. And then I wanted to share it with you guys. So if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments below. If you like this video, please like it. If you like the videos that I've done, including this one, please subscribe. I appreciate it. Just subscribe and hit the little notification button so you get notified when I upload the next one. So yeah, until next time, build, tinker, and ride. Thanks for watching. Take care out there and be safe.